just talk about that not one person, not one man on that train give up a seat for a woman. That would never happen in Liverpool where I'm from, you know? Like, just fucking ask someone if you want a seat. Like, a woman's been stood up the whole journey, even if it's a half the journey. I'm not talking about me, but like an older woman. Just pisses me off.
Yeah, it only pisses you off to the point where you wouldn't even think to give up your own seat. Why don't you create the example in 2025 and get up and give up your seat? You're well, young, beautiful, and able-bodied. So why are you complaining about what the other men are doing? Like, what are you talking about? You probably live in one of those places, probably in Scotland or Ireland, just judging by your accent. And it's pretty, egalitarian over there. It's pretty equal. So I don't know. Women just want to employ their pretty privilege and be like, how come men are not, getting up for these older women? I get it. I understand the plight. But if it was that serious and that much of an issue, how come you didn't do it yourself and set the example?
Do not approach you at the bar, not because you're not pretty, but it's because of this. I've been going to the bars every weekend with my friends, maybe for the past couple months, and I love it. I love socializing, and I'm single.
Without her even knowing it, that's a red flag right off the bat if you're a man.
And my friend and I were talking at the bar the other weekend, and we were talking about how we've never been approached by a single guy before. Like, maybe ever, which is just insane to think about. Like, I can name a couple occurrences where they have, but it was like people from Europe, and they're like a different breed of people, okay? So I feel like the culture in America is way different. Guys do not want to approach you, not because of how pretty you are or how you look, but it's really because they're scared of you. And then us women over here who are single are thinking like, we look amazing, we did our makeup, we chose the perfect outfit. Why aren't all these guys coming up to us? Even if we're not into them, why don't they just come up just to like make us feel good about ourselves? Okay. Now I want you to think of the perspective of a guy. I'll never know what's in a man's head, but
yeah, this is all cope. Women typically just, go straight to, he's afraid of us, he's scared of us, because for some reason they just can't get into their brains that men are just not interested in them. Like that thought that, what? He's not interested in me? Like if a man is not, put here to be interested in her, they just don't believe it. So they'll just go as far as saying that in coping, that men are scared of them. No, men just know that you're the run-of-the-mill 304 because you're in the club, in the bars every single weekend. You're outgoing and single, just like you told on yourself. And a lot of guys, they've come to their senses. They've woken up and they decided, no, I don't feel like catching gonorrhea this weekend. No, I don't want to talk to you and waste my time because I know you probably got a Chad or a Tyrone lined up to give you D at 1 o'clock in the morning. So no, I'm not afraid of you. I just don't want to be with you because I know what the consequences come with dealing with a 304.
The world come to that I can't even go into my place of worship, Home Goods, without being cornered by a man. I go there to sniff candles. I go there to touch blankets I'm not going to buy because I know I have too many. I go there to get peace and quiet from the world. So why, as a man, why are you bothering a woman in the candle aisle at Home Goods? That's like the one place that y'all should not be. I'm minding my business, sniffing candles, and all of a sudden, this grotesque hand pops up in my face with a massive mahogany teakwood candle, and he's like, "Can you sniff this? Do you have a nose, sir? Can you sniff it? Why do you need my nose? Huh? Leave us alone." That like where y'all go to try to pick up chicks now? Like, get the hell out. Your nose works just as well as mine does. Just as well. I said, yeah, that's a nice one. And I slowly moved away. He came after me. He came after me with another one. And he said, "Can you sniff this one?" And I said, "I don't like that one." No, just get away.
Some tells me that this guy, telling by she's saying his hand was grotesque, that he wasn't a Chad. Because if he was a Chad, this would be a totally different story. She would have flipped the switch and she would have been in a better mood, or saying, "Oh, he tried to get at me. He tried to get me to sniff a candle." But just letting me know that her hobbies consist of her going and sniffing candles every weekend just lets me know that if she continues on this path, she will actually regret all the times that she was mean or mad to any guy when guys completely stopped talking to her when she smashes right into this big guy.
The undisputed, the undefeated heavyweight champion of the world.
And then she'll understand fully, like, damn, I should have took the guys that were at my level. Now no guys are looking at me. So keep it up. You're on the right path to getting pumped, dumped, and then slumped up against that wall.
Women say this all the time. They're like, oh, I don't want to be bothered while I'm walking down the street. I want guys to leave me alone. No, they don't want men to leave them alone. They want the men that they don't find attractive to leave them alone. If a man approaches her who she's attracted to, she will be welcome into that. So
please stop taking advice from men like that and respect women's boundaries. There are even women in his comments explaining that this is not good advice and that we don't want to be approached. This has happened to me loads of times throughout my life, but there have been 2 more major incidents in the last few weeks, and I'll tell you about them. The first one was when I had a casting in a part of London that I wasn't really familiar with. I actually did a story immediately after it happened because I was so shaken up to put it on TikTok and put the message out, please don't do this to women. Some guy had walked past me, he asked me what the time was. I continued to walk where I had to go, which, as I explained, was to a casting, and he turned around and followed me for 20 minutes. He was very polite, he was very friendly. I don't think he was intending to be creepy at all. We had a very polite chat because who knows if he had a van around the corner. You just don't know, and we feel uncomfortable if you approach us on the street, even in broad daylight, especially if we're by ourselves and no one's around. I could not shake him, and all I was trying to do was to get to work. After he had hugged me twice and said goodbye several times, and I managed to palm him off with one of my model cards so that he would leave me alone because I know my agency just wouldn't pick up the phone or have any of that because I had warned them. He finally left. I rang my dad because I was so shaken up and thought he might come back. I arrived at my casting visibly upset, had to explain to the photographer what had happened, so felt extremely unprofessional, still had to do the casting because why not? That's what I'm here for, and I've made it this far. The photographer, who explained to me that he also had daughters, then insisted on driving me back to the tube station rather than having me walk. I just wanted to get to work. The second was a couple of weekends ago. I was heading back home, had a birthday, and just to see my parents. It was dark, but it wasn't that late. I had to change stations, so I changed trains. A guy had spotted me on the platform. I could kind of see him like looking at me, and then we got on at the same door and he explained that I was really pretty, and I just said thank you for the compliment. I was really polite, he was really polite. We went our separate ways. I sat somewhere, he went a few aisles down and sat somewhere else. He came back, he sat next to me, he continued to be polite, and I made it very clear that I was not interested, that I had a boyfriend, a house, a dog, all of the above. Continued the conversation, but he didn't move, and he got off at the same stop as me because apparently that's where he lived too. Brilliant. Told him my dad was picking me up, who luckily was already there. He came over to the car and introduced himself to my dad and continued to ask me for my number even though I told him no because he wanted to be friends. Leave us alone.
Sorry you guys had to endure that, but that sounds like a crock of bullshit, and I'm gonna be completely honest. Because she mentioned her dad being there at the end and the guy walking up and she's been shook up. If you're shook up and you say to this guy you have a dog, a cat, an apartment, and a boyfriend, how are you allowing yourself to be in a 50-50 relationship where you still have to go to work, you have a boyfriend, and if you're so shaken up, why are you getting dressed and taking that same scary, spooky route since women are so afraid and, you know, there might be a van around the corner? Like, I swear to God, women catastrophize everything and they take it to extremes, guys. You always have to take what they say with a pinch and a grain of salt, and you got to hear the other side, because I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, a lot of women, they either add things or they leave things out. So this just was completely everywhere. Like, this sequence took so long. I was here, I got dropped up at the chief station, I got back, then, you know, I was afraid, then he came back to me, then he sat next to me, then he did this, and he did that. How come you didn't call your boyfriend? How come you didn't call your dad? And then at the end, your dad shows up and he walks up to a car. If you're so shaken up, and I can't go outside because guys talk to me even in broad daylight, we're shaken up, then why in the hell don't you have your dad take you in his vehicle or get on a train with you to go? How come your boyfriend has you working? That's what I'm saying, bro. You got to check some of these things because these women be capping on here, bro. I'm telling you, it's probably catastrophized this story because I've heard women speak like this before, and typically it's a bunch of bullshit, and there's a reason behind it. They want to act like victims because they think that it is popular to do right now, and shaming and downing men and calling them pedos and weird and stop talking to us until you end up the cat lady.
They call her the cat lady.
And then you really see how life treats you because of how you treated people in it. Anyway, that's the end of the video. I'm done talking. You know where to find me. My name's Josh Bounty. You already know what it is. Bounty Villains up. Mastodon's down. Let's get it. Let's go. I'm going to see you guys all in the next video. I got to get back up to cooking this content 2 times. Peace. I'm out.
She hate it when I leave, love it when I stay. Trying to make a living, no baby, not today.